All right, not exactly the way we hope to do this morning. However, yeah, I think we've beat the beast this morning. So what's funny is we got a couple technology guys that you're waiting on me to get technology going, and I can't seem to get it going this morning. So sorry about that, Josh.
No, good.
So we're streaming live now, which is a good thing. So let me do this and get this out of the way. We were supposed to be on here 34 minutes ago, so my apologies. And I am getting some assistance, actually, just so people know. Like, I'm a security expert. I am not a Zoom remote video expert. Matter of fact, I'm a generalist about a lot of things in life. So I'm going to kind of make a quick introduction on this since we're a half hour behind. So my apologies. And we'll keep this kind of brief today because, quite honestly, the phishing, the scams, all the stuff that's out there are just off the rails as far as just not only complexity, how good they're getting at it and getting our information, but we see it literally every single day in here in our security company. And I'll do an introduction from me, and then Josh, I'll let you do your own. For those of you who watch the channel at all, we do security, surveillance, access control. We've probably got upwards of 4,000 customers around the U.S. now. We're still a family-owned company. My expertise really lies in security systems. Like, that's what we started in 20 years ago. We've branched off into several things that people think are crazy if you're on the other side of the fence as far as woke ideas in this world. But the truth of the matter is your security, your family security is what matters the most to us. And we have 5 licenses. We are a federal subcontractor on a couple levels, which on days really does frustrate me, like what we've seen the last couple of weeks. But Josh, I've known Josh for several years. He is going to introduce himself and what he wants to tell you about what he does or what company he does or doesn't work for. Or you just be as open or as closed as you want to be, Josh, because I know that a lot of things need to stay private these days, right?
Yeah. Privacy is key for a lot of things. My name is Josh. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Brad. I am a compliance manager for a VR company dealing with healthcare. So my main role is making sure that we're compliant with HIPAA regulation. We have SOC 2 audits. So all of the things that basically tell you what you should do to be secure, and this is how you should do it. And they check against that, right? So that's my day-to-day. But my background is in cyber defense. Went to school for computer information technology with that focus. I am a big component on security and keeping your data secure, whether it be company or personal. So yes, thanks again for having me. Definitely ready to get this thing rolling.
So let me tell the audience or whoever sees this what has been our experience with the requests in cybersecurity, and I'll do this quickly. Over the past 5 years, we have gotten in more requests from people saying, hey, I think somebody's hacked into my computer. Hey, I think somebody's hacked into my server. Hey, I think I have spyware on my phone. Some of these people are just paranoid freaks. The other group of them have literally had problems happen. And I really shouldn't say paranoid freaks, but I just, say what's coming off of my, whatever I'm thinking comes out. However, this is a statistic that is wild that people need to know. You are 10 times more likely to have your information stolen or your social security number stolen or your family's information or your children's information stolen and sold than you are to have your home broken into. That's an old statistic. That's a 2-year-old statistic. I would bet today that number is more like 50 times more likely to have some of your information compromised. And if you just take, I'm going to give you 3 companies. If you take T-Mobile had 64 million users' information stolen about 4 months ago, something like that. Twitter this past week, just go Google it and look at it. Go to the Google gods and ask them. They had 4.6 million, something like that. Do you know, Josh? Users' information compromised. Yeah. So usernames, passwords. And then I'm going to give you an old one, LifeLock, who is supposed to be one of the more secure identity theft companies in the United States, had millions and millions of people's information stolen. And look, if your credit, people say all the time, say, my credit score sucks. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care. So they can have my social security number. Well, so if you're going to ever rebuild your credit, they will sit on your information until your information is useful. Oh, their credit score finally got above 600. Well, let's see if we can sell this to somebody who would rather use this information. So chances are your information is already compromised. The real question is, what are you going to do to know that it's compromised, and how are you going to prevent it from happening? So that's why, Josh, we're probably going to do a couple of these, Josh, because there's this. Yeah. This is just such a large, it's a huge topic. So specifically today, phishing. All right, Mr. Expert, I'll probably jump in and ask questions, but tell us some of the phishing scams, how to pay attention to those, and how to not get bit by the criminals on the internet.
Oh yeah, definitely. So phishing is the number one way that people, threat actors, scammers, this is the number one most breach effective scam, right? Top number one used, they use COVID, it ramped up during that. Everybody's working from home, and we're kind of moving and transitioning out of that now, but they're taking advantage of the lack of personal security that we may not even know that should be in place on our network, right? This is not just company CEOs needing to worry about this kind of scam.
This is grandma buying crap from Amazon.
Yeah. No one's above reproach, right? You shared me the Black Books of Scam, right? That you can download off your website. Great information on it. It's very practical steps that you can take to begin your process of keeping yourself secure and your data secure, right? It covers from call scams all the way to, it does cover phishing. I do want to add, so for those who maybe haven't read it, it gives you a few steps, what to look for, and how to stay safe. I do want to add a couple of things to that, or a few things. And it's just really my rules that I present to my company and my teammates, right? Rule one, always just stop, look, and think before you click.
Don't do it tired either.
Going through, right, yeah, don't do it tired. Like, yeah. I mean, no one's above reproach, right? So do that, stop, look, think. Use that delete key. Were you expecting this? Do you have anybody, or like you mentioned Credit Karma? I'm so glad you mentioned Credit Karma. I've got an example of a Credit Karma fish that I'll show you, which is great. So rule 2, ask yourself, can I spot the red flags in this email? Is there anything fishy about this fish? So how you could do that, you can look at various domains on the send to. Number one is if you see any kind of threatening body message in the email, like, hey, your account's been compromised, click this link and sign in to change your password. That's some fishy stuff right there. So always be on the lookout for threatening emails, or maybe threats that your information has been compromised. And then also looking at the links, right? So instead of clicking on the links, you can, in most cases, hover over, especially using a desktop, laptop, hover over those links, see where that's directing you before you click on it. There's a couple of websites that you can go to even copy this link. One of them being VirusTotal. I use it very often, virustotal.com. You can upload files, maybe potential downloads that are in these emails, and check them and scan them. And it's a repository of all of the hashes of the known malware that we have. So great tool there. Rule 3, when in doubt, throw it out. Don't do it. Delete it. if you're suspicious about it, then that's probably a reason you should be. There's 1,000 ways that these threat actors will try to scam you, and they're going to try every single way they can, right? With that being said, let me see if I can share my screen here. Oh, Brad, do you mind if you allow me to?
Yep, let me get over there and do that. Did I do that? Oh, stream the social. Hold on, meetings and information.
While you're doing that, I can kind of talk a little bit further on that Black Book of Scams. Again, I really think it's a great document,
and it's free.
It's free, yeah. It mentions malware, so you would probably think most people are like, oh, viruses. That's really the number one way that people breach systems, and it to an extent, it is definitely very common. But interestingly enough, it's not the number one threat, which is what phishing is. It's so important. So the main malware, and this is a specific malware in this document that you guys mentioned, ransomware, right? However, how do they get that ransomware on your computer? Brad, I mean, take a guess.
Yeah.
Phishing, right?
Phishing, absolutely.
It's an act where you get an email and it's a call to action. You either click a link or you download something, and then you're compromised, right? So it definitely is super important, and we are, as humans, the weakest link, right? So as long as you maybe have some training and are aware, you can definitely mitigate some of these things.
Hey, listen, they're getting really smart about it too. I have a couple services. We actually offer a service. Whether you use us or somebody else doesn't really matter to me. This is just information I want to get you. We do have a service for your personal information if it's been compromised. How you not only clean it up, but also watch the dark web, so it's caught as well as it can be caught these days. But there are a number of ways that they do this now. It's a long-term game for them. So I'll get a report once a month that tells me, hey, some of your information is out there on the web, and here's what it is. And some things I can pay attention to, and I look at that report. Some things I don't, because if it's really part of like old passwords, like, oh crap, well, somebody had a keystroke finder on one of my devices and I've compromised it. I have over 80 passwords. I do change them regularly. I don't use the auto key, like auto generator on a lot of programs. I'm probably going to start doing that because I now have two-factor authentication set up everywhere, pretty much everywhere that I can. And so I'm not as worried then about having to go find my passwords. I can just use the two-factor authentication and log in. But that's a whole nother topic too.
I would love to have a conversation on passwords and password managers. Definitely good to have. We can talk about that on another call.
Another call. It's a long. Can you share your screen now? Let's see if you can actually.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see here. Yeah, so okay, I'm going to share this one. Make sure I got the right screen here. All right, can you see us?
Yes, sir. We got you. And I can also. Let me see if I can. I don't know if they're going to be able to see it or not. But by the way, we are having somebody who's a videographer come help us do some more tech to do this better. But let's see. I'm going to see if I can fix that a little bit for you.
Yeah, and I could probably zoom in a touch here.
Now, you're showing your email.
I'm showing my email. Yes, I am. This is a good example here. This one particularly. One of the common ones in businesses. LinkedIn is the top phishing account, right? Like they use LinkedIn a lot nowadays in phishing. So it is business oriented on this one.
Okay.
But I just try to use your skills, Brad, and see like where is the red flag. This is what we want to do each time we are viewing an email. See if you can spot it.
Well, even in the email up top, like it's not a regular LinkedIn email. That's the first place that I look when I'm trying to evaluate something. It's, this is not a regular LinkedIn email. This is some URL somebody's created. Delete.
delete, right? So, and then not always, this doesn't always pop up. So you have to make sure you click that down arrow there just so you can have a little bit more detail on the sender and the reply to. Sometimes these will be different. You gotta take a look at that. For time purposes, I'll just kind of point out a few others. I'll actually bring in this next one here. So it's the same email with the red flags showing here. So you've got the red flag. Yes. Let me see here.
If you can expand it
here, and then zoom in.
Misspelling.
How's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Misspelling is common. They're getting better at this though. So like some of these fishes are quite hard to catch. So the ones that with the misspellings, the one with the like maybe instead of the LinkedIn, it's instead of this I, it's maybe like a number 1. You got to watch out for stuff like that. If you're quickly looking at it, it's going to go over your head and you're not going to pay attention. So yeah, shocking content. I've noticed there's a lot of people being poached from your company, so call to action, click this link.
Yeah. And
I'm going to open up the hyperlink. So, technically since it's not an active email, it's just a screenshot. This message is hyperlinked. It doesn't show you the URL that this is taking you to. If you hover over this link, it will obviously take you somewhere and show you that it's taking you somewhere that it's not, or it's not saying that it's taking you to, right?
Right.
So you gotta be on the watch out for that. I do want to show you this next one, this Credit Karma one. This one, I think I would be even successful. I would be I get Credit Karma stuff all the time, and it is definitely it looks real to me. I mean, you mentioned, you take a look at this domain here.
Yep. That's
not a Credit Karma domain. It's a -org.co. I mean, creditkarma.com, right?
Yeah.
So that's the domain that you're looking for. I thought this was great though, because threat actors will throw this in here. So even I think it would have been a better fish if this was a .com or a -com.co,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? Because their domain is actually com. So this is not the domain. It's acting as it. It's trying to make you think it's the domain, but this is actually the real domain, the .co.
Yeah.
So things you got to look at that. The red flag here. Now, the next one is actually within this button here. There's a threat, obviously, saying, hey, there's new accounts on your report. Check it out. And 100%, I'd be like, I'm going to check it and click it. Like I would fall prey to that. So the next one is this right here. This is actually a button. It's kind of hyperlinked, but it's just an image, right?
Right.
It does. So this will take you to a site that is very similar to, it's a mirrored login for Credit Karma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like you're signing in to Credit Karma. It's really hard to tell. There's not really any kind of spelling issues on these, and you're just signing in. And guess what? You just gave them your password to your Credit Karma account. So things that you kind of can prevent, or what you should do in the event that this happens, right, is like check from another source. So if it is, like I do get Credit Karma like emails often, so it is something that I'm aware of, and it could be common, right? So if it wasn't common and you didn't have a Credit Karma account, then you just delete it, right? But my scenario, I really probably should check into this, because if there's 2 accounts added, I didn't add them. Go elsewhere. Use your browser. If you got an app on your phone, go to the app on your phone instead of clicking this link, right? So check from different sources to verify, is this real or is this fish?
And listen, if you do, like, although I do not use an auto generator, if you do save your emails in whatever browser you're using, whether it's on your phone, your computer, if nothing auto populates or auto generates to a site that you use, that's a problem, because the site will recognize the URL as being authentic or not being authentic.
That is correct. And also, I hope you're using a password manager and not storing your passwords in your browser. But again, we can cover that on a different day. There's some security issues with that as well.
Yes, there are.
But yeah, that's valid. That's a very valid point. It's a different URL that it's taking you to, and you might not notice it. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you those few different, examples of phishing. Now, of course, we also have what is called smishing, which is spelled SMSHING. So smishing, which is basically text messages. You'll get like these short URL bit links. So you got to watch out for those too, because those are shortened links that could be actually valid and might not also be valid. So that's where you start using the virus total and say, okay, is this link legitimate? And am I expecting this text message? In most scenarios, we get this a lot in our company. Text message of the CEO imposing as our CEO, hey, when you get a minute, can you do this? Can you get me a gift card for this event we're doing here in a couple, we've had people fall prey and buy gift cards from text messages. So they do that.
Hey, Josh,
that's a tactic.
If you will, bring your screen back over. Let's move it back over here. And
I'll stop sharing actually.
There we go. That's good. And I'll watch our time too, because this has been a good start. It's funny that you brought up Credit Karma. I told you that a couple weeks ago something got me. It was very similar to that. I am making it a rule now when I've had a long day or worked 12 hours, never go home and start checking email because I'm too tired and your brain is not as sharp. And mine was a PayPal one. We've been trying to shut down PayPal everything, but we still have a few transactions that run through PayPal. And I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was very similar to one that you just showed me. And what happened was I was tired. I fell prey to being stupid for a few minutes. And the minute that I hit enter, I'm like, oh, I know what I just did. And I was like, oh my God, now I've got to go. I had to go fix some things. I did it pretty quickly. I don't know how long it takes them sometimes, but once the information's out there, once they've got it, it's in their database and they've got it forever. So you have to go. You have to go change
those passwords. Yeah, make it a habit. Even if you were very cautious about everything, you should probably make it a habit of changing those passwords every so often.
Agreed.
That 90 days is common.
Yeah.
It's big. I know I can talk about this forever. So Brad, if we need to roll, just you can cut me off and we can pick it up later.
Hey, what do you want the next topic to be? Because I mean, this that one I gave you was a 28 most. That was a top. I think there were 28 top scams there or something like that. But I mean, what do you want the next topic to be?
I can talk a lot about passwords and password management. We can make that the next one. I think that's probably a good next step because it kind of involved, a little bit with what we kind of covered today. I do want to say there's one, just the last thing. And
Sure.
Is it okay if I plugged another YouTuber? Would that be okay?
Oh, I don't care at all. Yeah.
Okay. So the tech support scams in that section of that document there, the comment is you get an email saying, hey, call us. There's something wrong with your computer. We'll fix it. What is IT? We'll make sure you get fixed. There is a YouTuber that does, I think it's hilarious videos. But he feeds into their scams. So he basically pranks them. The handle is Kit Boga.
Okay.
Hilarious stuff. They get so mad, and it's usually it's just he gives them a hard time, and it's days of content that he does this with them. So check it out, please. Whoever's watching, check it out. It's definitely entertaining, at least for a few watches.
All right.
It involves malware, right? Like it involves those types of things that you download something on your computer to where they have at the very least a screen capture to where they can see what you're doing. Sometimes they can take over depending on the program that they get you to install.
Wow.
Right. So I'll just leave it at that, and we can kind of go from passwords to the next one.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm gonna give you a plug and then us. So we've been doing security, surveillance, access control, like I said, for almost 20 years. I think it is 20 years now. I think July was 20 years. I have to double check that, but I think it's 20 years. You and I've been talking for a while now about the need for this. I've kept turning down customers for the last several years, and they really don't know who to go to because most people are like, okay, we're only going to do large corporate. Like, this is the service offering, and this is what we do. Then you have people come in who, like, it happened to a family member. They got scammed about 3 or 4 months ago. It was a big deal, cost them a lot of money. They realized it too, like, just in time. She had to physically go down to the bank and stop things. It was $14,000, I think, is what she was just, and they're older. Like, so, I mean, physically, they got in the car, drove to the bank, stopped it. But we're getting the requests more and more. So you and I are putting together a service package offering just to be able to help people. Like, how do we do this because typically individuals, small corporate, family-owned businesses do not have the ability to even figure out, oh my gosh, we have ransomware. What do we do? So I think that there's some things that you've talked about, putting canary tokens on websites and those types of things to keep them from getting hacked. If you have a WordPress site, we have WordPress WooCommerce. So you and I are in the middle of figuring that out, but I have realized after getting request after request after request, I got one yesterday, by the way, at church. I was at church yesterday. A lady came up to me, the same thing you and I have been talking about. She was asking me exactly what we're having discussions about today. So
there's a need for it.
There is a need for it. And there's a need that's not going to be super ridiculously expensive like a lot of huge corporate stuff is, but a way to do it that we can help take care of people. So I'll put a link below after the video's gone, or after this live stream is gone, where you and I can update people and let them see how to log in and start if they need help, start getting help.
Awesome.
All right, listen, like and subscribe, please. Like, this is, one of those topics that it affects everybody, and you always help us by liking and subscribing the channel. You got any last words, Josh?
Thanks for having me.
Hey,
really
thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. We'll try this again next time, and I won't be 30 minutes late trying to get technical stuff figured out without having my video streamer guy here.
Awesome, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Talk to you later.
All right.